Today we are diving into a concept of damage over time, and it will work with any class that you want to play in Diablo Immortal. There are a few things we can do to give our character that damage over time, starting with our first thing here. That is going to be the curse abilities. If we go take a look here, I have 6 pieces of the lashed on my primary gear, and it allows my primary to do some bleeding. So your primary attack now has a chance to generate 3 cracking wisp that target nearby enemy and deal 24% of your damage per a second over 3 seconds to any enemies in their path. Additionally, when an enemy dies while still taking damage from a whip, it will explode for 24% of your damage, and this effect cannot occur more often than every 9 seconds. So every 9 seconds, if I use a primary, there we go, we have that bleeding damage over time effect that is going to bleed the enemy, and it will also work in PvP. If you can hit the player in a range like this, they will bleed. The second thing that we can go and do to make the damage over time effect a lot better is going to be adding Viper Bite. Viper Bite has a 100% chance of putting the poison on the enemy right away. So now if we go and hit the enemy, there we go, it will also be bleeding. There we go. Not only that it is bleeding, but this dummy is also taking damage from the Viper Bite poison. And the next thing that we can go and do is uh, getting Sleeping Bile is also really important. But before we go and do that, we will be adding Rolling Consequence, and it will also add that dot damage. It works most likely in a way that you have to hit for it to proc on the target. But if we were to now use the Arcane Wind and attack here, it will also create a firestorm that gives you extra damage, and it does some explosion damage and works very good with overall damage over time build. And now the next thing that we can do is, of course, add a Seeping Bile. It gives us even more poison damage, and we already have a really strong combination now that is going to put some fire, bleeding, and poison on our enemies. And if I were to hit now, there we go, we can see a lot of stuff is now happening. We saw the firestorm, we saw Seeping Bile, we saw Viper Bite, all of that getting trigger on the dummy. And now we can go and do something that is going to make this thing even better, and that is going to be adding 2 pieces of Feasting Baron set here. What this is going to do is increase the duration of your harmful effects by 30%. So our bleeding and poison will last 30% longer, and this is also working in PvP. So now if we go hit the dummy, reset, and hit now, the duration of the poison and the gems will be increased, and I can just hit and use my skills as well and get more duration from the harmful effects. So that is another thing we can do with these set pieces. And now we can make this overall combination even better if we add 4 pieces of Grace of the Fledgment, because the 4-piece bonus here, each time you damage an individual enemy 5 times, you will do 11,000 additional damage to that enemy. And this is big, especially in PvP. Getting that additional hit and damage over time is going to help us trigger this even faster. So if I reset this and use everything here, we can see the grace is triggering really often, and we don't even have to do much, and the enemy will get hit from the grace beam. So that is another thing we can do to increase the overall power of the damage over time. And now what we can do to make this even better as a wizard, if we go and get this helmet here, it increased the speed of the dot. If we go take a look at the skill, slow time now increase your attack and movement speed by 20% for 5 seconds, while also causing your continual damage and persistent ground damage effect to deal damage 60% faster. So all our poisoned and even arcane wind will trigger 60% faster. That is going to help Grace of the Flagrant to trigger even faster, and it is a really strong combo, especially in PvP. And now we can go and add even more gems that is going to benefit the damage over time build, especially the Starfire Shard. It will help us. We can go add the Stone Vault here. It will help us. So if I go and hit the dummy now, you will see that the Starfire is hitting and even the Stone Vault is hitting, and we're getting a lot here from longer duration, a lot more hit from the grace, and we don't need to even target the enemy. And there are a few more things we can do to make the damage over time build even better, and that is by adding everlasting gem. It will add additional bleeding to the enemy whenever we do a critical hit on them. You can go and add a pain clasp. That is a 2-star gem to increase the damage of your harmful effect or the continual damage. This is again really good, and you can go and do the misery elixir here. It will increase the duration of harmful effects even more, so your dot damage will last on the target even more. But this is of course strived in PvP, meaning it will only be working at 30% power in PvP. So you can go and add some of those gems to make the damage over time build even better. A lot of players also go and add the banquet set to add some poison. You can go and do that as well, especially as a necromancer. It will work really good. But there we go, a quick video about damage over time, or a concept of damage over time. And now I'm signing off. See you all in the next one. Let me know in the comment section down below if I have missed anything, and I'll be reading your comments. Signing off. See you all in the next one later, guys.